Good afternoon, Year 3, and welcome to your first science lesson of Term 4, Urban Pioneers. How exciting! Today we're just going to finish off our light and dark topic in science, and we're going to be looking at shadows, and we're going to do an investigation about how shadows change size. So, these children are talking about shadows and reflections. Can you talk to the person at home or your partner in school about the children's ideas? Do you agree or do you disagree with any of their thoughts? I do apologise, my washing machine is playing up and keeps bibbing and there's nothing I can do about it. So yeah, we might just have to deal with a few beeps every so often. So this person says, I think shadows are made by something blocking the light. This person says, the stronger the source of light, the bigger a shadow will be. And this person says that our shadows are reflections from the sun. So, do you agree or disagree with any of their thoughts? If you would like to pause the video and have a little talk with anybody who is with you, then that would be brilliant. Not sure where I put my lip balm. Never mind. Okay. Right, so shadows are created when an opaque object blocks the light. So when we say opaque, it means that it is solid. You cannot see through it. When something is opaque, no light can go through it, so you cannot see. The light cannot go through or around the object, so a darker patch of less light is created behind the object. Shadows are not reflections. They are definitely not reflections. Reflection is when light bounces off an object, like a shiny, flat surface. And a shadow is caused by the light being blocked. So the light cannot pass through this, so a darker patch is created behind it. So how do shadows change then? I want you to think about how and when they change size or direction. So pause the video, have a little think about this. Okay, so today you're going to be investigating how shadows change when the distance between the light source and object changes. So I'd like you to look at this picture and I would like you to think about what you notice about this shadow. What is different to it? Is it bigger than the object or is it smaller than the object? What do you think? Is there anything else that you notice about it? Okay. Oh, no animation. How rude. Okay, so you will set up an investigation today to find an answer to this question. How do shadows change when the light distance between the light source and object changes? And I want you to think about what you think will happen. So you are going to use a torch, a ruler or meter stick and an object. You will measure the shadow of the object at different distances from the torch, which is the light source. Okay, so you're going to create a small city out of Lego. That is why I wanted to save this lesson for Urban Pioneers. Now, if you don't have Lego at home, that's fine. I don't have any Lego that is not already built. So I created my own cardboard version. It's just a bit of card of a city. Now, it doesn't need to be big, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. And I have actually changed the results table. This isn't actually 3 centimeters, and I will show you why in just a moment. I start with 5 centimeters and we go all the way up to 15 centimeters. I changed it as I was videoing the experiment. So then at the last section you need to do is you need to look at the results, and I want you to see if you notice a pattern. Does the size of the shadow change when the distance between the object and light source changes? That will be your findings section. Okay, so here is what you will be working on. So you have your question that you need to write in, which is just here. How do shadows change when the distance between the light source and the object changes? Then you need to write in your prediction. So what do you think will happen? Then you need to put in what resources you will need. So you will either need Lego or a piece of card. You will definitely need a ruler. You will need a torch. And that will be all that you need. And then I want you to think about, how will you keep this a fair test? So what will you change and what will you keep the same? So what's going to happen is you are going to, and I'm going to show you the video, the first video that I've got, because that's what it contains. So, sorry, it's my neighbours if you can hear that. So, hopefully this plays. There we go. So you're going to keep the torch at 0. I used a little bit of card to show that I'm keeping it at 0. And then I'm using my object to move it. So if we think about that, what are we going to change? Is it going to be the torch, the distance of the torch, or the distance of the object? I'll let you have a little think about that. And what are you going to keep the same? Now for me, I kept the torch the same and I just moved the object. You may want to keep the object the same and the light source different. It may work better that way. And as you can see here, I've got the method written down, so where you need to place it, and depends what you decide to do, if you decide to move the torch or if you decide to move the object. So table of results then. Now I have changed the table of results because I found that trying to measure 3 centimeters on of the shadow of the object was quite difficult, and these were not helping, so I advise you not to wear any loose clothing, and you probably definitely need someone to help you measure it, because I found it really hard to do it whilst trying not to get in front of the camera. So I'm going to show you how I have done this. So I've got my object against, you need to put it against the wall so you can create that shadow. And then I'm using my ruler. I've got 2 rulers here to measure out the size of the shadow. Now you could do it lengthways, you could do it widthways. I went for widthways because the length I couldn't measure it. So you definitely need to make sure that your building is small. Your little cityscape is small, so you can actually measure the object shadow. So there we go, I'm moving it, making sure to line it up. Measuring it there. I'm just writing down my results each time I move it. And I move it once more. Now this is a lot easier to measure because it's a lot smaller. Just making sure, because it's created sort of like a double shadow, so I just measured it from one shadow end to the other shadow end. And as you can see, so much easier to measure. So if you have like a tape measure at home, that might be good to use. And then I'm just going to show you what happens when you move an object away from a source light, just so you can have a little look. Okay, right, I want you to pause the video and don't watch the rest of this video until you have done your investigation. So pause the video now, go off and write down all the things that you need to and do your investigation, and then I want you to come back and watch the rest of this video because I don't want to give the game away just yet. So pause the video, do your investigation, and then come back to me. Okay, right, findings. So why do shadows change size? So let's have a look. You should have noticed that the smaller the distance between the light source and the object, the bigger the object's shadow is. So hopefully some of you have been thinking about why this happens, and I would like you to share with somebody, even on the Discord chat, what you have found and why you think it does that. So the closer an object is to the light source, the more light it blocks. This means the shadow created is bigger. But if an object is far away from the light source, it does not block out much light, so the shadow is a lot smaller. Hopefully you have understood that and why the shadows do this. And then obviously I want you to think about why the shadows, so during the day, why the shadows are at different points. So if you think about your shadow in the morning, at midday, and in the evening, and I want you to have a look at that as well, and tell me why you think it is different. Right, have fun, and I hope you found the same findings as me, and I hope you found it a little bit more easier to do this than I did on my own with these baggy sleeves. Big mistake because it kept moving everything, and obviously you're not filming yourself doing it, so you can get in the way of the camera. Have a lovely afternoon, and I will see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.